Welcome to another episode of Trailblazers Rising. I am so excited to dive into this episode today with my beautiful friend Jessica Florence, who I've known for, time is not real, so I'm going to say over a year, but it could have been a little bit longer than that. And she, my dear friends, is an incredible author, which I find so intriguing and so inspiring from the ADHD perspective. So welcome, Jessica.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited.
I'm so excited to see you. Everybody, or my spirit guides and my FYP have been insistent about you. And every time I have scrolled on Insta or TikTok, it's been you all over my feed. So I am so excited to do this interview with you today. So we will dive right in with
I'm
the
ready.
most important question that I ask every single person is, what sparked your entrepreneurial fire? Was there a moment in time where you said, I can't work for anybody else. I got to do my own thing?
I'd say it's more or less, I just was pushed and took the chance and did it. And every time I've gone and done some type of oh my gosh, I can't say it, entrepreneurial thing, like being an author or starting my own business, it was more or less I can, so I do. And there's really I can, so why not?
Now, your latest book that's all over my FYP talks about one of my favorite things, which is crystals. So can you tell us about the book, The Labor of Love is how it appears all over my FYP. Tell us all about it.
Yeah. So I write fantasy, contemporary romance, all of the things. And I had this idea, a passion project where instead of focusing on what people, expected or what I thought people wanted from me, I was like, let me take all my favorite things in the world and make a book baby out of them. And that's my gem series. I call it the Onyx series. And I use gems essentially, and their cores are all of nature. So you have goat say and owl say, and the core and the gems are royal. So you have onyx and sapphire and ruby and jade and quartz is the last one that just came out. And it all hints to using, what the gems do for you. So quartz is the master healer. So this book is all about healing on top of taking back their dragon kingdom. And so I love playing in how crystals help in the stories. These ones particular.
So I have 2 clear quartz that are on my little stand next to my bed. It's not technically a nightstand. How very ADHD of me. But there's 2 clear quartz and they're raw cut. And I love them so much because if you don't already know, clear quartz A is the master healer. B, it will amplify the energetic signature of any other crystal. And it can also stand in for a crystal that you maybe don't have. So if you are needing, sort of bad bitch energy that you could get from a malachite, which I happen to have right here sitting next to me at all times, you can program a clear quartz and say, hey, I need you to help me really cultivate and conjure my bad bitch energy like a malachite, and it'll do it.
Yeah. That's definitely what I needed with this book with quartz. She's very broken after jade. And so the quartz helps her start to work through her inner things, her inner child wounds, especially, and heal to be that bad bitch energy. And she ends up having them in her body like implants, like mods. So she has a whole entire boat neck of quartz crystal. That's really cool.
I'll sign up. I'm next. I would like that too. Thank you very much. Put them everywhere, top to bottom, left to right. I'll take it all. So this question is going to be very significant for you. No pressure. But as an author, you have to be very creative. But we know as an entrepreneur, balancing the creative and the strategic sides of business is a tightrope that we're constantly walking. Not only do we have to try and balance being a mom and a business owner and this and that, you got to figure out how to channel that creative energy and how to channel that boring administrative energy. So how do you do it?
I love this question because it's only recently that I figured this out for me. And I think that's one big key is it's different for every person because we all don't have the same lives or personalities or anything. And so it wasn't until I actually talked to this really cool pink-haired mindset coach that was like, hey, how about we think about things in a different way? No, you can't decide how people think about things. And I was just like, wait a minute. She's right. There is literally nothing stopping me from doing these things and bringing more my authentic energy. And it's taken some time for me to figure out what that means for me. And so 2 things have come into play. One, I like to use the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So it's a triangle with your basic needs. And so I check in if I'm not feeling creative because creative's at the top. Then I go, okay, well, what are my other needs that are not being met? Do I need to feel secure in my home? Do I need social? Do I need emotional? go hug someone and then I can feel more creative. Is my house a mess? Or like I go through the list of things and then usually I can be very creative. The other thing I've adopted, especially when it comes to social media and not giving too much of myself in one way, is the persona. Who is Jessica Florence? How does she come across? Because the other me, the mom, the chicken mom, the dog mom, the everything else mom, farmer me, is different than Jessica Florence in little ways. So how does she come forward? So now I feel free that I can step in and be, it's like the Clark Kent Superman or Kobe Bryant and Black Mamba, that type of mindset.
I love that you say that because accommodations are imperative. I had to accommodate myself today. As a neurodivergent person, I identify as ADHD autistic with the PDA profile of autism, which means it's technically called pathological demand avoidance, but that name is just terrible. And I like persistent drive for autonomy. But I was really low energy. I woke up today at 6 a.m. and I went, babe, why isn't your alarm going off? And then my brain went, I think it's Sunday. And I checked, I went, oh, it's Sunday. Well, now I'm awake. So I got up and I didn't do anything major. I was just scrolling for a while. I had my Diet Dr. Pepper. I had my breakfast, not a high protein one. And then I said, I'm going to have to take some vitamins if I really think that I'm going to be able to like last the whole day and talk to multiple people and be my beautiful bubbly self on camera. So I ended up sleeping in the middle of the day. I took my vitamins and they were supposed to zhuzh my energy. And they said, ma'am, you actually are depleted. I'm going to need you to go lay down. And I went and lay down and then I got up and I did a record fast pace. So I'll tell you, you really have to, it does help, and how many kids do you have?
I just have one.
Yeah.
We have
Those chickens.
Well, yeah, we have like 9 or 10 chickens plus a very high energy dog, an old dog, and like 7 acres of property. My husband and I just spent 2 hours this morning clearing out invasives and getting trash out of the creek and like all the things. So like, and I needed to like, take some chill time, I like Abraham Hicks, do that or have something to drink, kind of relax to get back in the energy and the flow.
Yeah, we love Abraham Hicks. You get full approval here from that. You get full approval here from that. So when it comes to, we'll just stay on this topic for a little bit. When it comes to time management and our ability to stay on track, I like to joke as a coach for neurodivergent entrepreneurs, I can get anybody's train back on track. I absolutely can. I love a good divergent conversation, we'll call it, where we just go off on different tangents, but it does make it difficult to manage your time and make sure that you are keeping on task. As an author, I am needing you to tell me that you have good time management tricks that you can tell me and teach me.
I do have hacks and tricks that I've had to learn, and it's based off of my personality. But when I do make priority lists, like I have a calendar right next to me every day, and I write down all the things that I need to do, and I label them as, 1 through 5, 1 being top priority. Okay, I need to do this, I need to do this. Well, is writing right now more important than sending that newsletter and like where things fall? And it helps me check things off. So that's the thing that helps. I love bouncing with people is what I call it. So I'll call and we just get on the high vibe back and forth, ideas and flow. And it makes me feel so in the mood and in the place that I can go and write for, hours and I feel energized. So I make sure that when I'm feeling I need to do stuff, I bounce with people. I have a few that I can call. I also I read a study where for neurodivergent people, playing video game music helps you focus. So if you play like Mario or World of Warcraft, because the games are designed to keep you focused.
Yeah.
Long period of time. And I've found that works. So I will do that too. Just put music on and it helps me. It like keeps my brain occupied so I can focus, elsewhere.
That's so good. I don't know about the video game music. I have a house full of men and everybody is required to wear headphones most of the time because any sound emanating from any electronics gives me anxiety. But there are some ways that I have Pavloved myself. That's what I call it. Of like, okay, I'm going to hear this, or I'm going to smell this, or I'm going to see this. And then my brain goes, we're working now, bitch. Like, this is what we are doing. Yeah. Oh, I can't sign up for that. I will never, if you ever hear me say that I love the pair of jeans I'm wearing, that's my super secret signal that I'm being held against my will and I need help.
Yes, I put on jeans when I want to get to work because my brain's like, oh, we're doing something. We're not just wearing pajamas all day. This means business.
I love that. It's better than shoes in the house. I can't. I'm a Floridian. I don't want to wear my shoes in the house. I want to be barefoot. Please, thank you. Please don't want it. So you've been writing for a while. I have known you for a while. And I know that one of my biggest issues with, representing myself online and that persona, like you said, and just like living life in general as a neurodivergent woman is rejection sensitivity. And recently, it has really been at the top of the pile of challenges for me. So I don't know if it is for you, but do you have any words of wisdom for when it feels like the whole world is against you?
Whole world is against me. Well, this is a subject that I've had to work a lot on, having been rejected. I'm usually too much for most people. And I've had to really emphasize it just doesn't matter. And I know and love myself. So I focus on that. Like when I go to signings and things, I just shut it off and I focus on mine. And I almost have to be like this delusional audacity in love with myself where I just literally put on headphones and blare on everybody up. But I do have two people have said something to me that I just put on repeat. And I guess it's me specific, but maybe work from other people. I have one friend that whenever we talk about things, she'll be like, well, if anyone can do it, you can. And I
Yeah.
know that's very generic, but she has full, complete faith of like, oh yeah, Jessica's going to go become a rocket scientist. I believe it. She can.
Yeah.
And my husband once, we were in a therapy session and therapist person asked him something like, oh, what is one of your favorite things about Jessica? He's like, I don't know how she does it, but she just creates magic. When she says she wants to do something, she just does it. I know, isn't it? So
So
anytime
hold on, let me get my husband to hear that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm
right?
just kidding.
So anytime I start to feel like scared that people are going to reject me or whatever, I just really try to focus on that. Like I'm attracting the people that I want into my space. I am complete in myself. I do not need others' validation, but I worked really hard inner work to get to that place. And then I just do magic and I shut it out. So even if people don't see and agree and like, I just don't care anymore. Stuff works with that.
Practice does make perfect. And there's two things that you need to benefit the most from. They need to be intrinsic, and that is motivation and that is validation, right? So I validate myself, who I am, and how magnetic I can possibly become because the more magnetic and authentic you are, the more you're going to naturally repel anybody that's not right for you and attract anybody that is right for you. And if we are doing things for other people's approval or validation, we'll never be happy.
Absolutely. I just put that into practice in the signing I went to a week ago. Same exact thing. I was like, all right, I'm not going to give in to anyone seeking out attention. I'm open to communication, but the right people to come. I'm not going to try and find and root through all that. And it actually worked out. All the people who want to use me for, my name or pretend like we're friends or whatever, they didn't even come around me. And everyone
Yeah.
who was just open to being there and genuine came into my space. I was like, this is perfect. I don't need everything out. It's just
Yeah.
all them.
I remember the first time that ever happened to me when I was still working at the restaurant that won't be named. I had all my crystals on me. So, like all of my black tourmaline, all of my black obsidian. That's a big one for me. I love black obsidian, keeps everybody away. And I remember I was standing there at like an end cap, I don't know, folding napkins, but probably not rolling silverware because I never did that. Even when I was a side work, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Thank you very much. You guys have fun with that. But I remember watching one of the biggest gossips at the restaurant. And I remember watching them flit and float from person to person that was going to totally entertain that kind of energy and behavior. And I'm just in my head going, there's absolutely no way in hell that I'm going to talk to this person about whatever it is that they're spending around this restaurant. And as they were walking towards me, they looked at me and they kind of like cocked their head and they just went at me. They just clocked me as somebody that wasn't going to have any of their shit. And I was like, I am keeping these crystals on me forever.
It's
Forever. Because
the best time.
it really is. And anybody lower than that is just going to say that's challenging and they're not going to go after you.
Yep. And that's what helps me with the rejection is now I just look at everything and I'm like, no, you're either going to be a match and in my space and want it or you're not. And if you want different, you can change that. I'm just going
Yeah.
to come as I am. And that's just is what it is.
So as an author, communication is key, not just for, all of us on the planet, but especially as an author. So
Mhm.
how have you honed your communication skills and really navigated the barriers to entry, if you will, as a neurodivergent person in the author entrepreneur space? Because it used to, in my brain at least, 20, 30 years ago, you had to be published by, the big publishers, whatever it was. I can't even think of the name of them. I don't know. But you
A
had to
good
have like a
guide.
yeah, you had to have one of the big 5 publishers taking care and, like, then you would go do the tours at all of the bookstores and do all of this and do all of that, but now social media has really, like, changed the game, but it has also made communication even that much more important. So, what are your tips and tricks and tools for the trade for, clear communication when it comes to especially marketing and promoting?
So I think one of the biggest things that I'm just now really starting to focus and think differently is everything comes down to messaging. And as an ADHD neurodivergent and a creative, in my brain, especially when I'm writing and trying to promote my book, I think about the story. Like I'm so connected and aligned with my story that it's almost like I assume and feel like everyone else should know it too, or just be interested. And so, like, I'll talk about things and I'll keep it very mysterious and I'll be like, oh, I got this book. And I'm not going to tell you anything about it because it's just, I want you to find out because, whatever. Meanwhile, with regular everyday people, you have to say, this is my book. These are, et cetera, tropes that are in it to make them feel connected. Messaging is something that I've had to learn how to do completely different than the artistic brain. And there's stuff for it.
There's only a few people that copywriting comes naturally to, and I envy them whenever I do run into them in real life, and it certainly ain't me.
Oh, well, and I think one of the things you learn as an entrepreneur is delegation and like finding the people who have the strengths that are not yours. And that's something I've been doing for a couple months now. I had that deep feeling that things were really going to change. And so I've been assembling a team. I've been finding the person to do the tasks, help me with messaging and think in different perception. Like the mental health therapist, like everything to help make it easier for me. They call
Yeah.
it the keyless business, where you get it all set up like a keyless entry into a car.
Yeah, absolutely. Eliminate every point of friction that you possibly can. You're just
Yeah.
setting up every single one of my questions. I love you so much. You're psychic too. So, when it comes to relationship and building and maintaining strong relationships, whether it's with your clients, your partners, other key players in your industry, other than obviously, clear communication, have you found there are other ways or any sort of tips for those of us that are trying to build stronger relationships as we build and lead a team?
Well, let's see. I think one of my biggest things, anytime anyone asks me about relationship advice, whether it be like your intimate relationships or other people, is growth. Naturally, we humans need to grow. We need to move. We need to evolve. And so you need people surrounding you who also want to grow and move and evolve. And it doesn't have to be the same pace. Like you could be, going like this, but you can't be stuck in and have people not being, not moving forward when you're trying to climb a mountain.
Yeah.
And you have to be open to finding the people who, I don't know, in some way or another, either, help you move forward or they want for them growth in general, in all the ways, inner growth, outer growth, all the growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's most important. And
It's so important too, the growth mindset, because you don't want to be leading people that take offense to anything, or this has been a big one in my life recently when people are still so stuck in unhealed trauma, or, I don't know how healed any of us ever get, but we can at least get aware of a lot of our reactions and that sort of thing. And really, when I ask somebody a question, like when I ask a new client or I'm talking to one of the members of the Neurospicy Academy, and I say, how many TikTok followers do you have? I literally just need that piece of information. I don't think it's bad or good how many TikTok followers you are. I'm not judging you based on this thing. So picture what you think I'm asking you. I promise you, I'm one of the most direct people you'll ever meet in your entire life. Just answer the questions that I'm asking you. How do you handle that when you encounter it? And I mean, I can only imagine how many people you're interacting with when you go to, a book show, book fair. What are they called?
pick signings or conferences.
Signings, conferences. Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
I think that it comes down to the vibe type of thing, like what you're putting off and attracting. So, like I love Abraham Hicks. And so essentially when you have your energy, whose energy is dominant in the room? So if you go in and you're letting other people kind of dictate the energy of the room, then you get lower. So I try to focus on my energy where I go so I don't become susceptible to other people's. And I do have issues with some things because the more I think it's what they call it, like the like the curse of healing and things become more isolating and you're just more aware. So some people's behaviors is not, it's harder
Desirable.
for you. You have
Yeah.
to learn to keep it in. And I've learned there's one quote I heard a while ago. It's about rescue syndrome, where when you become a lifeguard, you learn that you have to be willing to let people drown. And obviously, they're going to try their hardest to not do that. That's their job. But when people are panicking and they're in survival mode and unhealed trauma and all the things that are just taking them down and drowning, if you're constantly going into the water trying to help and heal and do everything
Thanks.
you can to help these people, sometimes they'll drown you. And that's really hard to accept. So it's not my business how
Did I
other
lose
people
you?
are dealing with their stuff. I focus on mine and I bring what
God
I can and
fucking
help
damn
in
it.
ways that I can. But ultimately, I just kind of let people do what they're going to do because it's not my job to help anyway. I don't know if that was the question, but my ADHD thing went on a little. Oh no, did we free? Okay. Guess we'll just wait. And see when Melanie comes. Dang here. I'm getting fucked. So I'll say before you edit it out. It's fine, Melanie. The internet and all the things. It's going to eat in it. So
Okay. I apologize again, electronic and me. What were we talking about?
I was going on a little tangent or whatever about other people's things and you can't let them drown and it's not my business and I'm not going to be taken under. So I don't know. You wanted to go there?
I love all of those things. Okay, so let's get this train back on the tracks, everybody. What has happened here that you may or may not see due to editing purposes is that my internet and burned and we were mid sentence. So this may be the first episode where nobody forgot what they were saying mid sentence. It literally got ripped away from you, your ability to share it. So we were talking about how to just really be a bad bitch, which is something that you really are. And we'll keep it moving because what is very important to me, and you know this as we have worked together for a while, that to manage the stress of life and running a business, especially, that self-care is crucial. Self-care is one part of the puzzle that is a non-negotiable. So tell us about your favorite self-care practices. And I always say, like, if I were to drop a camera crew in your home over the last week, what would they have filmed? What would we see?
Well, talking to people is a huge thing for me, self-care wise. Like I could see my energy get up so really high. And the more I talk, even if it's about nothing, it just like calms me down. I'm a big bath taker. When we moved into this house and renovated, I made sure that my bathtub was like, one of the highlights of the whole entire house. And it is. So I love to sit. There's a bunch of windows. So I look at nature or just close the gold curtains and enjoy. I watch movies. I'm a big like movie person and it just makes me feel better. So I'll just like zone out and be mindless and watch a movie, something like a comedy or, something fun that's not angsty. I stay very far away from things that will stress me out or give me anxiety. Just let me
Yeah.
have it. I don't need movies making me feel it too. So that's the big one. And sometimes I swim, like if I've got really high energy and I don't have anywhere to put it, I'll do laps.
Oh, I love that. So, since you're a writer, are you a big reader? I personally, you can see I have some books behind me. I like to have books around for reference, but I am not much for actually like sitting and reading a book. It's been a while since I've wanted to like sit and read a book for a myriad of reasons, but one of them is that reading makes me tired. So I'm going to get that checked out with my eye doctor. There's like a diagnosis for it that I've been researching. I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Are you a reader? Do you like to read, or are you more like me and you're a researcher? I just want to know everything about it.
Am a reader. I don't read as much as I used to. When I first started writing, actually, it was almost 10 years ago, and I was reading a book a day for like a year. And finally, I was just like, I can do that. I'm going to do this. And that's how that started. Not very hugely inspirational, but just kind of jumped in. But I read a lot, but my tastes have changed because I feel like if I know so much and I know formulas and I know how things work that you really have to catch my attention in the first chapter or make things unpredictable. I like to joke about contemporary romance versus rom-coms. And contemporary romance, anything or not anything can happen. Like, in a rom-com or a fantasy, a dragon can pop in or a girl can have an accident out in the parking lot. And in a rom-com, it's funny. But in a contemporary romance, you're like, oh my God, you need to go to the hospital. That's not okay. I need that spontaneous, those things that keep me guessing. Otherwise, I'm bored. So it's like I do read, but not as much as I used to. I feel like I reread more than anything because I reread some of my favorites. They make me smile. They give me the feelings I'm looking for. I know what I'm going to get versus I guess I'm really protective of my emotions. So if I know I'm going to get a happy emotion, I'll read it. If I'm unsure, it could go any way, cause me angst or anxiety. I won't even take a chance because I just don't want to feel that way.
Who are some of your favorite authors?
I love Laura Thalassa. She writes fantasy. She did like a Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse series where each horseman
Ooh.
falls in love. I love Mariana Zapata. She writes very slow burn. They're mostly indie authors. Slow burn romance is my favorite. It's culty. You guys can't see my office, but I have like bookshelves like all around hanging. So I'm like, who's looking at all my book? Sarah J. Maas, Jennifer Armentrout. Yeah. And I don't know, there's a few others.
So when it comes to your style of writing, what do you call it? Like what genre is it?
Well, I write everything from, like I said, contemporary romance, rom-coms to fantasy romance. But if I was to have a tagline, which I don't typically like to do because I feel like it changes, but when I was working on brand with a friend helping me figure out what my core themes are, I feel like narrowed it down. Where essentially it's Jessica Florence or Escape to Another World with Jessica Florence, because that's what my books are. My books are escape and like,
I love
yeah, I
that.
help people get outside of our reality and you really just go into these characters' lives and world and forget about everything else for a little while.
Isn't that great? I love that so much. Okay. So now we're going to do, before we get into the lightning
Okay.
round of fun questions that I ask absolutely everybody that are very, very just their ADHD. That's really what these questions are. I'm going to ask you to plug your spot. Tell everybody listening where they can find you, where they can follow you, where they can get all of your information and buy all of your books.
Okay. So I'm going to show you because they're just really pretty and I have to share them. So I have some of my books available. This one is A Secret in Onyx. Very beautiful. They're not super big books, which I like because I got things to do. This is the book that just
Yeah.
came out, The Rise in Courts. It is the second book after Tragedy and Jade. It is the second generation of the couple from the first book, The Onyx, that I told you. So essentially, they had to stop the world from breaking more, but it's still broken. So now it's the daughter's job to fix it. She doesn't do a good job, but that's her healing, her grow. All of the books are on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited, as well as you can buy signed paperbacks on my website. But one of my favorite things I just started doing, which I don't know if you saw or not, is my special. They have foiled covers of the art I draw.
So pretty.
Yeah. Spring edges. So these ones are pink. This is purple. So I'm doing one of my 25 books a month until I'm done. So like for the next 2 years, I'm doing all of my books in this vibe with different frayed edges. And I've got my first quarterly box coming out in June where it's like a night in with special edition. So to get the 4 books, but like with tea and a mug and a candle and whatever to lock yourself in your bathroom or your room and read. Kitchen where
Yeah.
people can get a book every single month and probably don't want to do it anymore. And that's on my Patreon and on my website. So those are like my favorite.
I love it. Okay. So, because we've known each other for a while now, you know that I love shows for like manifesting, so you're having a low energy day. You can still stay on that nice high vibe if you watch a show or a movie about people that have what it is that you're manifesting. So, one of my go tos is the Jackie Collins documentary that's on Netflix. And I literally watch that at least once a month. And she was such a trailblazer. No wonder I like her. And she really embodied, like you said, the persona. This is Jackie Collins when she's on promo. And Jackie Collins did not claim that she was the most eloquent or smartest or anything like that. She said, I write about what I know. And that's why people like to read what I write, because they know that I'm coming from, the source, essentially. Have you ever watched that documentary?
Yeah.
She was really steadfast in the women can do anything, girls can do anything. And she had a different experience than the other, say, Danielle Steele's and, romance authors of that time, 80s, 90s, that sort of thing. So you may actually really find it inspiring. You'd really find it inspiring because they interview all of her daughters, they interview all of her friends. And every single one of her friends said, I was Jackie Collins' best friend. I thought that was the most interesting thing in the world that she made all of her. You can just tell that person that has the energy that, you want to be around them. I thought it was so interesting that all of her friends were like, no, I was her best friend. No, I was her best friend. So yeah, I would strongly recommend you and anybody listening, check that out. I think it's called, it's not Girl Boss. It's something like that though. But if you go on Netflix, you can search Jackie Collins documentary. It's fantastic, very inspirational. All right. Are you ready for the lightning round? All right. These are just stream of consciousness. We're not going to overthink them. First and foremost, what's your favorite social media platform?
Top.
Duh. All right. Number 2. This is my favorite question. What is the most recent rabbit hole you've gone down?
Oh, rabbit hole that I've gone down? Oh, goodness. That's not coming easily for me.
Something farm related?
No, my brain's not popping anything on that one.
That's fine. We'll keep moving. I go down enough rabbit holes for all of us. Don't you worry. What is your emotional support show? The one that you go to watch or movie that you go to watch when you can't take any new emotions on and you want to just chill out?
Okay, I have a few. I watch Ever After,
Of
Pitch
course.
Perfect, 1 through 3,
Okay.
kind of pick and choose. The Day After Tomorrow with Tom Cruise. I love that movie, and I watch it all the time.
Really? Tell me why. I don't understand. I don't get it.
I think it's the storytelling flow of the whole entire thing with him living the same day over and over. I don't know. It captures my attention and I just like die loving it. Shows. We watch a lot of older shows and like Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of my favorite. Watching that, yeah, I'm a huge movie rewatcher. I have like a list. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley.
Really?
Oh yeah, movies are one of my Disney movies. I'm a huge Disney person too.
Tell me if you like this one, because when it comes to movies, I am not a big movie buff because it's a commitment and of time, but I'd rather lay in bed watching 8 episodes of something. So
Right.
anyways, it's fine. Oh, we're not going to overanalyze it. The movie with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy, I think that's, I
The
don't know
Heat?
if I'm saying her name right. Yeah.
I'm really good at that.
I will watch The Heat over and over and over again, and I will cry laughing at the
That's so
same
funny.
parts over and over and over again. Tell
Yeah.
me you like that movie too.
Well, I'm a huge crier when it comes to movies.
I love
It's
that
like
movie.
happy. I'm a huge happy crier. Like I cry on some of the dumbest movies because it's just like happy. It makes me happy.
Yeah, I love it so much. All right, second to last question.
Okay.
It's a 2-parter.
Okay.
Have you consumed any water today? And do you want to share your emotional support cup?
Yes, I drink a lot of water. I also drink a lot of tea. I drink like 4 or 5 plus cups of tea every day. I even bought my own tea plant so I can make my own tea. I drink so much.
Smart.
Yeah, emotional support cups.
Smart.
I'd say I don't have a particular one because I buy so many mugs now that they are they have their uses. Like I have work mug and it has the audacity and like a tarot card. So it reminds me to bring the audacity. Depends on like the mood I'm in. I pick my cup according to mood. So right
I
now
like
I've
that.
got this one. This is it's for my superheroes romance series. Someone made it for me and gave it to me. So I
Wow.
use this a lot. It's got tea.
That's so pretty. I love that.